Capone. Welcome back. And give me a second to do a sound check because I am not on right now. Let's Okay, I hear it. Welcome back to the Ace Capone show. I am back again, and my dog is here bothering me, so I'm trying to work this out. Today, we're going to be talking about marriage and if it's worth it here in 2026. It's an interesting question because right now, more and more men are weighing the idea of marriage. They're looking at their fathers, they're looking at the men that have come before them, and they're saying, you know what, I don't really know if I want to take that risk because it's a gamble. And you don't really understand or know the woman that you're getting involved with. They give you these representative looks when they first meet you. They say, "Oh, I'm this, I'm that." You know, I can tell you from example. I met a woman, and she says, "I'm a good woman, and I'm a good woman, and I support my man. I'm loyal." And they'll hold that. They'll hold that frame for a couple of months, maybe a year or two. And if the conditions are good, they will maintain that frame, but it won't last. It really doesn't last. Historically, marriage has provided legal, financial, and social benefits while creating a stable foundation for raising children, and that's what it's been for. Long-term commitment without marriage has become more of a practical choice. And men are weighing those options. They're saying, hey, you know what? Can I have a relationship without the government being involved? Can I maintain a relationship and still be able to see my children without having all of this other flack? I think those are really good questions. Those are serious questions that people need to answer for themselves. And I think more modern men who are becoming more and more awake and aware, are saying, you know what, I really don't want to take that risk. It's not really worth it because the women that you're getting involved with aren't worth the investment. They really, really aren't. And when you look at what they're giving you, what can a woman, other than sexual satisfaction, what does a woman really bring to the table? And I know you have a lot of simpy men out there, men who really, really are pining and pedestalizing women that come up with all these other silly things. But those are the guys that get used the most. They end up getting used the most because they sit here and apologize for women. And they overlook all the bad traits that come along with them. The emotional nonsense, the threats of taking you to court, the threats of divorce. And once they give you that threat of divorce, you are absolutely, you're basically, they're in control. They're going to run you through the cleaners because the judicial system basically worked for women. It doesn't work for you. So while you're out here saying, hey, I'm going to trust this person with my legacy. I'm going to trust this person, with my seed. They're saying, wow, I got a sucker. And for them, it's nothing but a win-win because either they're going to take your children and abuse them, or they're going to take your money and ruin you. Either way, it's a loss. So I was listening to Andrew Tate, and he was saying, the best thing to do is to live with men. And if you live with men, you stay sharp because men criticize each other. Men hold each other accountable. Men say, hey, man, you're getting fat. Hey, man, you're not too smart. You need to work on, reading up on things. You need to stay up on politics. Hey, you need to, how are you going to talk to a woman when you can't even hold a conversation? Men criticize each other, and that criticism makes them better. Iron sharpens iron. competition makes men better. But when it comes down here to marriage, you know, at the same time, some men worry about the financial and legal risks if a marriage ends. They ask whether the incentives and protections surrounding marriage have changed enough to justify taking a different approach. And that approach is like, what are the biggest benefits of marriage? What is marriage offering today? Is there a benefit to it? Are the legal risks of divorce overstated, or is it underestimated? Some people will tell you all types of horror stories about, being divorced and how they've lost everything. And guys are looking at things saying, hey man, I don't want that. I don't need that. Definitely don't need that in my life. And when you're sitting there looking at that, you're like, I don't even think a girlfriend is good. If she's going to live with me, maybe she should stay in her place. But then when she's in her own place, do you trust her? And you don't trust anything that has options on a daily basis. What I mean by that is that you have women who are out here and they are getting propositions from men on a daily basis. I had a woman, and all she would do was come to me and say, this patient was flirting with me, and this guy was flirting with me. It's like, that sounds really good to you. But to me, it just says, you're enjoying it. And yes, and I explained to her, and I think she got kind of upset. I say, well, you're a woman. And if you don't understand that just by being a woman, you're going to get offers. The men are going to veil the offers by saying, hey, you're pretty, can I get your number? Or, hey, can I take you out? Can I call you? And women are flattered by that. But what they're actually saying isn't what you're hearing. What they're saying is how about some sex? When they say, hey, you're pretty, it's like, I really want to have sex with you. You're attractive. I want to have sex with you. And when they're saying, hey, can I get your number? It's like, hey, how can I get in bed with you? But women don't hear that. But that's what men are saying. When they're asking for your number, they're saying, how can I get access to you? When they're saying you're pretty, you're like, you look attractive enough for me to lay down with you. And a lot of men aren't able to approach women because they're socially awkward. And you have a lot of men who are desperate that can't retain women. You have men who have nothing to offer women. And this is why you have men who are who are alone for a long period of time. Either they don't have what it takes to keep a woman because they don't have the charisma. So for them, it takes a while to get a woman because women aren't looking for those kind of guys. If you're an unattractive guy, women aren't looking at you because she has to say, am I going to be able to wake up in the morning and look at that thing? Or, hey, if I'm walking around with this guy, are other women going to say, wow, she's got a handsome man? Or, wow, that's a nice looking guy. Or they're going to say, ooh, they belong together because he's hideous and he's not going anywhere. And you have those type of men, if they do get a woman, they're going to lead with their things. They're going to lead with, I have money. They're going to lead with, look at my car. They're going to lead with, hey, I have property. They're going to lead with things because they have no substance. And after a while, those things kind of wear off. A woman says to herself, yeah, that's nice that you got property and you got a little money, but you really aren't smart. And women like smart men. They want a man to keep their attention. They want a man that's going to test them mentally or dazzle them with your intelligence. And as a man, you have to bring a lot to the table. You just can't be some one-dimensional character because it gets stale quickly. And even though you have all of those traits, divorce is still inevitable because women are emotional and they make decisions based on those emotions. You can be the best guy. Trust me, you can be the best guy. You can hold a woman's attention. But hypergamy will say to them, hey, you know what? That guy over there is cute too. And I think he's got a little bit more. And he may be a little more intelligent. And that's what men think if a woman leaves. But moreover, as you see with Tom Brady, as you see with other celebrities, those women, they choose to go downward. They're not upgrading. They're picking lesser men. And that is a bigger shock to the system when it's a man. A man says, wow, you chose that guy over me? No frickin' way that you choose that guy over me. And that hurts because you're like, that dude's a bum, or that dude is hideous, or that dude is broke, or that guy's dumb. But women, you can't make sense of what they do. You cannot try to make sense of what they do because they don't make sense. They make emotional decisions that don't make sense. And many times, if a woman leaves you for a man of lesser quality, she's trying to stick it to you. She really is. And I say, let her go. Let her do what she wants to do because it's going to catch up to her. She's going to get tired of that. She's going to get tired of looking at that ugly man. She's going to get tired of him being stupid and not knowing things. She's going to be tired of him not being capable of fixing or giving her resolve to her problems. Because a lot of men aren't capable. To be a capable man means you're good with your hands. You're good with your brain. You're good with your mouth. And not very many men have those qualities. And when you find a man that's well-rounded, you should keep that man. Because you're going to say, wow, I got this guy, but he's not like my last man. He's not resourceful. He doesn't know how to find things. He doesn't know how to fix things. He can't give me a good resolve to my issues. I'm still stuck in the same place. So you let that woman go off, you let her suffer, and you just sit back. She'll contact you. Trust me, she really will. Because she's going to say, wow, I really messed up. I really, really need that guy. Because she's going to call you for advice. You're going to say, you got a man for that. That's all you need to say is, you got a man for that. You chose a man for that. You know, you didn't want my advice. Obviously, you thought his advice was better. So you should go ask him for his advice. And when you leave that out there like that, you know, it makes her think, yeah, maybe I should have stayed with this guy. Make her suffer. But when it comes to modern relationships, men are doing the suffering because you are jumping through hoops to provide and to counsel and to protect in many instances, women that won't listen to you, women that won't obey you, women who think that they are smarter than you. So how can a man being involved with a woman that won't obey him? If I am charged to provide and protect you, you better obey me. That's not an option. It's a must. It's a necessity. You have to obey me. And if you have a woman that won't obey you, you need to get rid of that woman. That woman is not yours. She is for the streets. If she can't take direction, you need to let her go. And when it comes to finances, 50-50 doesn't work. You have to be, I talk to a lot of guys, you know, especially in healthcare. I see a lot of black males, and black men are always at the bottom. And they don't understand it. You know, they think being cool is what's needed. It's like, no, you need some money, man. And I told a gentleman, you know, kid, he was 22. I said, hey, don't talk to a girl until you are making at least $70,000. I said, at $70,000, you're going to be able to take care of yourself. You're going to establish yourself with a place to live, something to drive, decent clothing, and you're going to have different standards. You really are. You're going to have different standards. You're not going to have the same standards. You're going to be able to say, hey, you know what? I have established myself, my stuff. I have my stuff together. And now I need to worry about what type of woman am I going to let enter my world? And it's your world. It's your agenda. It's your focus. It's your direction. And this is why I like to say men have to have direction, because you let anyone, she'll drag you into all different spheres that you don't want to be in. This is why you have men saying, oh, my wife said we should have an open. No, man, you don't listen to her. She's a clown. She's an airhead. Why are you listening to someone who that is not supposed to guide? She has no direction. I know she'll talk really loud and brag about nothing. She has no direction. She doesn't. And you better not think about getting on her agenda, because that's the agenda to hell. You can't do it. Won't do it. Shouldn't do it. Stay away from it. Run from it. It's a path to disaster. It really is. It's a path to disaster. She needs to be on your page, on your program, on your agenda. That's all there is. Can we do? No, we can't do. That's not what we're doing. It's okay if you have a woman that is a muse. She'll give you tips and maybe enhance some of your ideas. You're like, wow, that's a valuable woman. If she sees your vision and she says, hey, I see that vision too. How about this to improve it? Well, what about this? What do you think about that? She's asking you about it. She's making suggestions. She's not trying to take your vision and run off with it. She's saying, look here, I see where you're going. I want to go with you, and let's do this. But then you have too many instances where the woman says, yeah, I see it, but you know what? I'm smarter than you. Let's do this. She's going to try to take over control. It's a mutiny. Get rid of that woman. She's going to be nothing but trouble, because once you get successful, she's going to say, I did it. You owe me. You couldn't have done it without me. You don't want to be involved with a woman like that, because when she does leave, because trust me, she will leave, because she thinks already she's better than you. She's going to say, I need it all because this is what I did. There's always a reason for everything. And you don't let women lead, and you do not allow them to think that they're doing it. You got to let her know sometimes, hey, this is mine. I run this. I need I appreciate all of your help. You are a very good helpmate, but definitely you're not the one in charge. If she doesn't understand that, that's okay. It's okay if she doesn't understand. If she doesn't want to accept that, that's fine. But she's going to understand she's not in charge. And with that, it's good to look for a woman who is humble. And you're not going to find that in 2026. You have these feminists and the media and social media that are pumping up mid-looking women, obese women, women who should not be in relationships, women who don't qualify for relationships, getting involved with men, selling this facade that, oh, I'm the right woman. I'm a good helper. I believe in the Bible. And women don't believe in God. I don't care what woman you meet. She does not believe in God. She's always testing God. She wants God on her terms. She wants God if it fits her behavior. But if you get down to moral questions, she's going to say, I don't believe in that. Well, maybe, it doesn't. That's Old Testament. That was back in those days. This is 2026. We do things differently. If you really want to have a good, meaningful conversation with a woman, ask her about values. Ask her about children and how you rear children. Ask her about finances and how she sees that. Ask her about how she sees the home and who is the head. And when it comes down to decision making, ask her, who makes the final decision? If there's a pause, if there's hesitation, if there's I think it's 50, you got the wrong woman. Because you're not going to you can't convince a woman to be a good woman. She's either a good woman or she's not. And you have too many men hoping and praying to make a good woman out of a 304. You're trying to make a good woman out of a masculine creation, because masculinity in women is created. It's created socially. It's created by their parents, and most times by the mother. A mother who is bitter, a mother who is jealous of the success of the father, who now wants to say, I want mine, what about me? And those are very dangerous women when it comes to relationships. You got to stay away from those kind of women, man. I tell you, it will bite you in the end. When I hear men saying, I want a strong woman, no, you don't. No, you don't. There's no such thing as a strong woman. You're just a weak man. There's no such thing as a strong woman. There is a woman who takes good direction. There's a woman who completes tasks. There is a woman who's able to say, hey, you know what? I am reliable. There's no strong women. If there were strong women, women would be running the country. They would be building the country. They don't. So they're not strong. What you call strong is like, well, she's taking orders. It's like saying, I'm a strong leader, but you're a worker. How are you going to? No, you know how to follow directions, and you get it twisted by saying that it's me. No, it's like if you work for a warehouse and you are following the protocol of the company, doesn't mean that you're a strong leader. That means that you're following the protocols properly. You're not leading anything, because if you were leading, you would be making up the standards yourself. You would be creating the protocol. You're following it. If you're following my agenda, it doesn't make you a leader. That says you are good at being a good helper. You are reliable. You're consistent. You have value. But don't mistake having value as being the leader. And many people confuse being a good follower as being a leader. And the two are not the same. But when also, if she takes your instructions and she doesn't talk back, good sign you got a good woman. If she isn't sitting here doing stuff, I had a wife that, she would do things. She would plan the trips. She would say, hey, let's go over here. Let's go over there. And I think that's fine, because if you're a man, you're working hard. You don't have time to sit around going, let me try to be this romantic. No, man, your job is to protect and provide. You're protecting and providing. You're doing what you're supposed to do. Women use this silly Hollywood nonsense, this Disney nonsense of romantic. Romantic is false. There's no such thing as romance. A good man pleases his wife. How does he do that? By providing for her. He enables the family to travel. He enables the family to have nice things. He enables the family to live in a nice home. He enables the family to have consistent and reliable transportation. He makes life easy. That's romance. Sitting here having him jump through hoops and, bringing me flowers and he's doing this. That's not romance. That's your ego kicking in. And your ego will destroy your relationship. You always hear women say, he wasn't romantic enough. Did he provide for you? Yes. Did he protect you? Yes. Then that's all you need, lady. Sit down somewhere. You're trying to bite the hand that feeds you. You're looking a gift horse in the mouth. And that's an ungrateful woman. But the woman I had would plan things. And next thing, after we broke up, she was like, you didn't, I had to pay for all this stuff. Well, honey, you don't understand. You made the plans. You paid for things in advance. What are you talking about? People just twist reality. They twist reality because now I want to say something negative. So I'm going to take all the realities that I lived through and I'm going to twist them to be negative. And that's also the trait of a woman who's guilty, and she understands that she's no good. So now she's going to twist everything to make everything, even though you could give a woman a very good life. You can protect her. You can counsel her. You can be the best man ever. But once you break up Everything was so terrible. Oh my God, it was the worst time of my whole life. I regret being with you. Yeah, you weren't saying that when you were going out. You weren't saying that when you were getting things. You didn't say that when you came home to a nice, beautiful home. You didn't say those things. You say it now because you live in a lesser home. You don't have reliable transportation. You don't have that security because you got a bum man now. So now you're trying to be bitter, trying to make yourself feel better. You don't have the same caliber man. So now you're out here trying to strike out at everything because you're bitter. And that's an ugly, ugly look. How you see someone in the beginning isn't how you see them in the end. In the end is going to be the real person. And breakups are part of relationships. But if you're going to marry someone, if you're going to bring someone into your inner circle and you're going to say, I'm going to commit myself to this woman, she better be the right one. You need to be able to see her when she's emotional. You see how she responds when she's angry. Does she lash out at you? Does she say things to you? Does she call you names? Is she tempered? Does she maintain frame? Does she stay respectful? If she's not respectful, that's not the woman for you. If she's saying all kind of wild things out of her head, that's not the woman for you. You need to get rid of that thing. That's a little Tasmanian devil. That's a gremlin. You throw water on that thing and it goes crazy. You do not need to bring more drama into your life. Life is rough enough. A woman is supposed to be a refuge of peace. She's supposed to maintain your peace. When you come home, she's supposed to say, don't worry, I understand you went out there and you fought the world for me. I'm your peace when you're home. Let me make sure you're fed. Let me make sure that I'm able to hear about your day. Let me make sure that, you know what, you're comfortable. So you can go out and do it again tomorrow. Let me be able to make sure that you don't ever have to worry about me getting attention from other men or accepting attention from other men, because that's the last thing a man needs to worry about. Because that's the easiest thing for a woman to give. But a man doesn't need to worry about it. If you got to worry about her, you don't need her. You know, and I was caught up in a moment where I was like, man, you know, I miss this woman, or hey, I really want this woman back. And then she started to show me who she was. And my impression of her just slowly diminished. Because you have someone up here on a pedestal, and that was the first mistake, is that I said, wow, this woman does all the things I like. But there was a catch to it. I started to see the things coming back. I did this, and I did that, I do this. I'm like, this person isn't genuine. Because when you do things for people, because I did a lot of things for her, I never said, oh, look at me, I did this for you. Or, hey, what about this? I did that for you. That's a low-level person. That's a low-class person to bring up stuff that you've done for someone. And you see some men that do that too. You don't need to read your own resume. If they don't want to acknowledge the things that you've done for them, then don't bring it up. Obviously, it's not important to them. They don't care. And you trying to bring it up, they're going to say, well, it wasn't worth anything because I didn't even remember it. Don't do it to yourself. But she was that type of person. She wanted to bring up things that she did. And it's like, well, you did things because you wanted to. You asked to do those things. So how are you going to, pound your chest as if, oh, yeah, I'm proud of it? Then actually you didn't do it from the goodness of your heart. You did it to keep score. And those are very dangerous people. And I know men get caught up by the representative. They get caught up because of the sex. They get caught up because, oh, she's saying the right things. But behind the scenes, that woman is out there. She's talking to men. If you got to think, only the way a guy is going to talk to her if she gives her her number, or if she takes his and she calls him, that makes it worse because she's out there initiating it. And if he's calling her, well, you shouldn't have given him your number. There's no accident. You did that on purpose. So you're not innocent. So if a woman says, oh, I just don't think this. No, you've already been planning. You're a snake. Men usually don't leave relationships unless a woman is very, very, very bad. Men just don't. Even if he's cheating on you, he's not going to leave you because he still has value. He sees value and he's not going to give you up. But a woman will dump you in a minute. She will move on. Forget about you. Forget about everything you provided for. Because now this new guy is supposed to be all that and sliced bread. The bee's knees. Not really. But she's going to say that because she wants to hurt you with it. She's not really happy. If a woman tells you she's happy, then she's not happy because a woman that's happy doesn't even care. She's just going to go live her life. When a woman says, I'm happy, honey, you're not happy because people that are happy don't have to say it. It's like people say, I'm rich. Well, if you're rich, you wouldn't have to say it. We would see it. And trust me, they'll know when you're happy because they're going to be looking on your social media. They're going to be trying to see you. When they see you, they're going to, oh man, he's different. And that's going to crush their fake reality of that, oh, you're going to be missing me. No, I'm not missing you. I think about you, but I don't miss you because it's peaceful without you. The certain things that you did, I may miss, like, being organized or maybe the sex or maybe the conversations. Doesn't mean I want you. There's certain things I miss, but I don't want you. I can still converse with you. I could probably still have sex with you, but I don't want you. Because once a woman gives herself to another man, you may as well let that go. She is used goods. She already has him in her mind. And once another man's in her mind, let it go, man. I don't care if she wants to come, let her go. Because you are supposed to be the only thing in her mind. If she can go out and give herself to someone and start thinking about and catering to another guy, she's trash. And I'm just going to say what it is. She's absolute trash. You just take her like a streetwalker and be like, get on, move on, keep it pushing. I don't need that. I need a woman who's going to be dedicated to me through thick or thin, good or bad, rich or poor, because we're on the same team. And if you can't be on my team, you need to get out of the circle. And when you're out of the circle, you can't come back in the circle because you didn't appreciate nor did you respect the circle in the first place. And don't say, oh, you love me, because you never loved me. Because if you loved me, you would have worked it out. If you loved me, you would be here. It wouldn't be in the bed with someone else. So is marriage worth it in 2026? If you weigh all of the pros and the cons, that's something for you to decide. But if you were asking me, it's better to have an agreement. You can have a ceremony and keep the government out of your relationship. The government isn't in the Bible to commission relationships. Relationships were based on if a man had taken the virginity of a woman, she was his. She was his responsibility at that point. I know women use their sex as tools, but in civilized society, if you had the virginity of a woman, she was your responsibility. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. Women didn't sleep around. This is why you had stoning. And today, women have no shame, and feminism has caused that lack of shame, that lack of morality. Feminism is of the devil, and women have embraced it, and men have to weigh the option of whether to get involved with these individuals or leave them where they find them. Or just have ceremonies and say, when she starts sparking up, you say, you know what? You're not who I thought you were. You're someone else, and I'll let you go. And on that note, until next time, your boy Ace Capone. And as always, peace. And I'm gone.